Welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today's adorable guest is Meredith Oki, who is a leader in the quantum health revolution, light therapy. She is an advocate who actually healed her own body, learning all about light. And she's the co-founder of quantumhealth.tv. I loved talking with Meredith about the sun, about light sources that come into our house, and about how you can literally heal your body with just tweaking a few simple things. So let's go and say hello to Meredith. Hey everyone, welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluhige, health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you encouragement or an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode. Please also join our awesome Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and I'm looking forward to see you on the inside of that group and hope you enjoy today's show. If you're a woman trying to age stronger, it's really difficult to get enough protein because there's only so much room in your stomach, right? Well, I have good news for you. My favorite protein is called Prime Protein, and the reason I like it is because I don't get the bloating and gas that I get from the regular whey protein. Also, it only has 3 ingredients: grass-fed beef, cocoa powder, and stevia. So it's super clean and it tastes great too. I mix it in yogurt or coconut milk, make a smoothie with spinach. It's just so versatile and it's so delicious. I even can mix it in a cup of coffee in the blender. The other thing I like is called Smart Sleep, and I mix it with water and psyllium husk every night before bed. It tastes kind of like a sweet tart, so it's pretty yummy. And it has herbs like chamomile, lemon balm, rhodiola, L-leucine, and L-theanine, and valerian root extract. It also has vitamin B6, magnesium, and zinc. It helps so much. I sleep like a baby most every night. So go ahead and check out these amazing products at bit.ly/EquipPro. EQUIPPRO. And you can check out these delicious and amazing products so you can age stronger and healthier instead of sicker and weaker. Be sure to use code HEG for a discount. Hey Meredith, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Great to be here, Tracy. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you because you are covering one of my most new, interesting topics that I really want to learn more about. I feel like our world is heading in this direction for all things. So for the listeners that don't know you yet, will you please tell them a little bit about yourself?
My name is Meredith Oak, and I have been for the last sort of 12 years, I was an executive coach. And a few years ago, due to personal health reasons, I was suffering from chronic fatigue and I just couldn't figure it out. And so I ended up going down a research avenue that was completely new to me. I had done years with some like wonderful practitioners, naturopaths, nutritionists, acupuncturists, all the things. And I just wasn't able to crack through that last, like that second half of the fatigue. Like I just couldn't get back, couldn't find my way to a life where I could wake up in the morning and live my day normally without having to manage my energy. And I stumbled down this rabbit hole of learning about the impact of light on health, which gets into the world of quantum biology. And I just couldn't believe that it wasn't more widely known or widely understood. So I spent several years, applying it to myself and learning about it. And so did my husband. And then during COVID, we decided to take a sabbatical and we started a communication education company that just So I just interview people and teach about light and health. So I'm not a science person. I'm not even a health coach. But I've interviewed everybody pretty much, I think, that I can find in the world who knows about this. And we are creating conferences and videos that explain it to people so that they can just optimize their light environment, which has a huge impact on health.
Absolutely. And how did this knowledge benefit your own health? Let's start there.
So I think light, for a lot of people, most of the people who find it as it's like the missing ingredient, right? We oftentimes, when we want to feel better, we start with food, and then we go to supplements, and then, and meditation and all these different things. But what I've learned is that if we don't take care of light, those things can't work optimally. So I went from being someone who needed to lie down like a couple times a day. I had to sort of manage my energy in the way that I came to understand most people only had to do if they were sick. And once I understood how to optimize my light environment, which is not hard, it's basically going outside more and eliminating artificial light at night, my health completely transformed. Like, I can get up in the morning now and have a full day, and it's still part of my life a little bit, the chronic fatigue, but I don't have to think about it on a day-to-day basis. Like, I can live a full life. And I know so many people who were really healthy people. And that's where the light piece is so amazing. Like, so many people who have transformation stories were people who got sick and they were like working out multiple times a week, eating keto, like taking the supplements, like doing all of the things that we understand that we think we should be doing, but they weren't taking care of that light piece. And they ended up with like really serious health problems. And then when they rectified that, they found that they maintained their health, exercising less, eating more, a variety of food. Like, it just balances everything out.
Okay, that is awesome. And I really want to dive deep into here because I happen to live in the country, and so I'm outside a lot. Like today I was out hiking for a couple hours and things like that. But specifically, I think people don't realize. So you touched on the no artificial light at night. Can you kind of say what you mean by that exactly?
Yes. So that is any light that is man-made, whether it's a light bulb and particularly a screen or a device, is not going to have the correct frequency that our bodies and our eyes need once the sun goes down. So the sun programs our bodies. It programs our cells. It's like, if our cells are an orchestra, the sun is the conductor. And when we expose ourselves to artificial light after sunset, I mean, we can talk about during the day as well, but it's particularly important after sunset. It's like we've lost our conductor, and all the instruments are playing at all different times and out of tune and out of key, and one person's, and it's chaos. And so when we expose ourselves to this light after sunset, we're putting our cells in a state of chaos. And so our body can't do the restorative and reparative functions that are supposed to happen when we're sleeping. So we might not be able to sleep. We might fall asleep and then wake up multiple times. We might sleep all night, but still not feel rested. All of those things can be signs that your nighttime light is disturbing your cells and your body functions.
Interesting. Okay, so what do you do? Like, okay, so pretend like it's not summer. I go to bed early. I like to be in bed by 9, but pretend it's winter and it gets dark at, 5:30. What do you do all night in the dark?
So so if I want to watch TV, which I do, sometimes I wear blue blocking glasses. Those are the orange glasses and for nighttime, if you want to keep the light goes into your eyes and into your skin. They discovered in, I think, about 2018, There you go. Tracy has them. That
Anyway,
there's
sorry.
actually photoreceptors in your skin, but the eyes are the key part. So if you are watching TV at night or looking at your phone, yeah, you just want to put on the blue blockers, but you also want to be wearing lots of clothes or be under a blanket, because it can even, the light is there, the photoreceptors are even in your skin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we have, I think a lot of people's homes come with built-in like LED lights recessed into the ceiling. So in our house, we have those, and sometimes we put them on in the middle of the day, but we never put them on at night. We have lamps with the bulbs that give off a bit of an orange glow that you can get as if you like halogen or incandescent bulbs. And then if we want to read before bed, the lamps in our bedroom are actually red light bulbs.
Ah, I've heard
What
about
you're trying
that.
to do is like keep your internal light environment as closely aligned to what's happening in nature as possible. So the light frequencies coming out of an LED bulb or out of a screen are similar to like the sun blasting out at high noon.
Mm.
So if we expose our bodies to those frequencies of light when we're supposed to be giving our body the signal that we're winding down, we're preparing for sleep, the body doesn't know what to do. It doesn't prepare for sleep, and it actually suppresses the melatonin, which needs to be active at night while we're sleeping. And then the melatonin gets created in the morning by the light frequencies that accompany sunrise. So to really live an optimized circadian lifestyle, you want the first light that you see to be outside as early in the morning and close to sunrise as possible, and then have periodic times where you go outside during the day. So your body is continuously adjusting to what's happening in nature. And then in the evening after sunset, from an evolutionary perspective, the only light we would ever have seen would be a bonfire. So that's why you don't want any blue or green light coming at you, which is what the blue blockers prevent. They make it so the light frequencies coming into your eyes would be similar to those of fire, which do not disrupt your circadian rhythm and allow you to sleep.
That's interesting. So that's why they want you to wear the amber glasses, because then it represents a bonfire. Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's new. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just like a color spectrum that it blocked the blue light. So
yeah, it does block the blue light, but the light that comes through is in the spectrum of fire, which does not disrupt your sleep, because we evolved to be able to see a little bit of fire before we went to bed.
Oh, well,
then,
you know what? Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and there are glasses with like more yellow tinted, and those are for earlier in the evening or in the daytime if you're in an environment that has really bad, harsh lighting. There are daytime versions of them, because you actually, sometimes people are like, oh, I should wear my blue blockers all the time, but you actually don't want to wear dark orange blue blockers during the day, because that will also tell your body that it's nighttime.
Oh, and then that would throw off your whole circadian. I think that's what's part of my husband's problem, continuing education for this or, all kinds of stuff. And he sleeps like shit. And I have a feeling that it has to do with he's exposed to all this blue light and screens. And I've given him blue blockers, but I don't think he wears them. So
yeah, it's a little bit hard to wrap your head around. Like, I was studying this for a long time and still not wearing blue blockers. And I actually did a consult with one of the doctors who started to really popularize these ideas. His name's Dr. Jack Cruz. And I did a consult with him, and where I was living, it was nighttime when we did it. And I got on the FaceTime, and he's like, where are your blue blockers? What time is it there? I'm like, oh, it's like 8 o'clock. He's like, why are you not wearing blue blockers? And I was like, were you like really serious about that? Those really work? He's like, yes. And it seems like, how could something so small make such a big difference? There's a bit of a disconnect. But once you realize that, like, would somebody be like, oh, I'm going to eat a hot fudge sundae right before I go to bed? Like, probably not, because they have some understanding of what, of how, dysregulating that would be to your body to do that. But we don't understand that about light. So that's the blue blocking glasses seem like a gimmick, or they seem like, whatever, but they're crucial. Like it's like if we're on our laptop until late at night, we're literally taking out all of the things that make our sleep do what it's supposed to do. Like we're suppressing, it suppresses melatonin by 80%.
Wow.
So we're only it's like running your dishwasher with like only a tiny trickle of water going through, and then expecting your dishes to be clean in the morning. Like, our cells are supposed to repair and cleanse themselves as we sleep. It's called a process called autophagy. And it can't happen properly if all of the hormones that make it work are suppressed, which is what happens when we look at screens before bed.
So it sounds like an easy fix. Just basically wear these most of the time and you're pretty much protected, other than covering up your skin. It seems too simple. There's got to be something more complicated than that, Meredith.
There really isn't. And part of me wonders if that's why there's not more, stuff about light out in the world, because it's really very, like, the way to fix it is really very basic. It's like, spend more time outside during the day and eliminate artificial light at night, and through your light bulbs, and then throw on the glasses. It does matter, the brand matters. They're not all created equal, but there's a lot of really high quality out there.
These say Swan. I heard
think
what you
Swan
said.
I'm not totally familiar with them, but I think they're quite good.
Okay, say Swan something. I can't read the rest. So let me ask you about light bulbs. So I can't remember how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, the big thing was to get those curly Q light bulbs. And it was like impossible to find incandescent bulbs at that time. And then I find out, oh my gosh, those are not good. They're blue light. Plus they're filled with mercury. And if you dispose of them, it lets all this mercury into the environment. And it was hard to find incandescent bulbs. And then I found some online one day. What is your experience with all of that?
Yeah, so because LEDs are more energy efficient, they were really pushed by governments. And in the United States, I think it actually became illegal to sell incandescent bulbs unless they were labeled decorative. So there is that workaround. If you want to find them, look in the decorative section, not in main lighting section. But just if you're just like at Home Depot or whatever, they now have them. There's a line called like vintage Edison bulbs, and there are ways to get them, but you do have to be a little creative because it's not what the system wants you to buy.
And why do you think that is?
There are many theories on that. When it comes to light, I truly think people just have never thought about it, right? Like they created the screen, the light frequency that comes out of your screen was created to stimulate you and make you want to work and make you be productive and make you want to pay attention to it. And I don't think anyone until recently thought through the health implications of that. They're starting to now. A lot of computers have, night shift. There's also some software you can get to put on your computer that turns the screen orange that you can just like turn on at night. Doesn't have to be orange all the time.
Flux. That's what I have.
Yeah. Flux, Iris. Yeah, they're good.
And also, I don't know, do you follow Dave Asprey, Bulletproof Radio?
A little bit, yeah.
He's the one who turned me on to, like, if, well, I don't even use an iPad anymore, but that you could put like a screen over your iPad that blocked the blue light from that.
Yep. Yeah, you can do, yes, there are, yeah. So you could either, so for screens, there's the software, then there's the glasses, and then there's, yeah, you can buy actual physical film that you put over the screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
That's
then,
my
but then it's on there all the time, even when you
iPad,
don't
which
want
I
it.
gave my son. So, yeah, but I don't even notice it. So that's not
Yeah.
a big deal. I just really was pissed when I found out about the harmfulness of the mercury filled light bulbs, because I mean, did you ever read about that and about the OSHA and if it breaks in your house and all of that? Have you heard about that at all?
A little bit, yeah. That they were filled with, yeah, like chloroform or I'm saying the wrong word.
It's actually mercury, and it's so bad. It's past OSHA standards. So you have to evacuate the room, open up all the windows, don't vacuum. I mean,
It's insane. And the light bulb and the
I'm
light
thinking,
that it's giving off is basically toxic. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
toxic all
totally.
around,
I
in
I mean,
and
when I
out.
was looking for incandescent, yeah, but I love the idea about wearing red. So let's talk about the sunscreen and being out in the sun. I love the sun. What your experience, and with all your knowledge, why is sunscreen the new margarine?
Sunscreen is totally the new margarine. So when it comes to optimizing our light, which is, I mean, there's research that shows that our light is more important than our food even, right? Like it drives everything. So there's two things going on, right? There's one, we want to optimize the natural sunlight that we're exposed to, and we want to minimize the toxic man-made light that we're exposed to. So we have our life, the typical modern lifestyle, if you're not intentional about it, has it completely backwards, where we are like exposing ourselves, our naked eyeballs, our skin all day long to all kinds of toxic light coming out of our screens, coming out of LEDs, coming out of those little twirly things with the mercury in them. And then we go outside and we put on sunglasses and we put on suns and we put chemicals to block out the sun, which is actually the light that we need in order to be healthy. So it's completely backward. And so sunscreen is I used to have a little more of a balanced opinion, but now I'm like, it is useless. It is a horrible, useless product. And, you know, like you said, if you're going to be out on a boat or out prolonged exposure, you could put a little zinc or something which is like a physical barrier. It's not a chemical. But generally speaking, if you acclimate yourself to being outside on a regular basis, you will not need sunscreen. And getting a little bit pink is fine. If you feel like you're burning, shade, hat, t-shirt, you know, whatever you need to do. I'm not advocating to get a sunburn ever. That's generally speaking not a good thing, but our bodies are made to be outside. And when you go outside in the sunrise, you actually, the light frequencies in the sunrise create a natural SPF of 15 that lasts throughout the day. It's incredible what happens if we do it, you know, if we live in rhythm with nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea that the sun is somehow bad for us is insane. Like it's insane. It is responsible for, we can't digest properly, we can't sleep properly, our moods can't be balanced, our neurotransmitters don't work, our hormones don't work, like nothing works if we don't get natural sunlight. So when you have that precious outdoor time to put on sunscreen, you're not only blocking the light frequencies that are contributing to the health of your body, you're also putting chemicals into your system because you absorb them into your skin that you don't need.
Yeah, instantly. I think that's worse for sunscreen than, or for skin cancer and crap, is the chemicals. It's not the sun. You know, I mean, I've actually seen, I was on a boat with a friend one day and somebody had a thing of sunscreen in a bag with her sunglasses. No joke. Somehow the sunscreen leaked out of the container, melted her freaking sunglasses.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
And we rub that all over our skin.
Well, we don't.
To be healthy. Well, we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like unbelievable. It just really, it's crazy. So here's something that you may or may not know that I learned, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. So I was on a hike with a friend today and she had sunglasses on and it was 8 a.m. So it was early morning, earlier type sun. And I told her, take off your sunglasses because you need to be exposed. And you want your eyes to see that sun, right? And about the pineal gland and the calcification of it and how early sun, late sun helps decalcify, right?
Yeah.
So that opens your third eye. It's kind of your, connection to God. And anyways, but here they've told us to wear sunglasses and, hide that. So I think it's kind of weird.
Absolutely. And I would put sunglasses up there with sunscreen in terms of not just a useless product, but a harmful product. I mean, unless maybe if you're out on a boat and there's a reflection off the water, maybe you would put them on. Or if you're skiing, you wear goggles because of the reflection. But when you're just outside walking around, as you said, like, you took it to the next level, right? Like the first level is just the health, our physical health. And it, I've come to a place where I now understand that it is impossible to be healthy if you don't spend time outside on a regular basis every day, if possible. Like our bodies just can't thrive in an indoor environment. They can't heal, they can't get better. We will always plateau. It doesn't matter how many green smoothies and you wake up and do green smoothies and yoga. If it's inside with the windows closed, it's, you just are not going to be physically well. But then what you were, you're just saying, Tracy, the next level of that connection to something higher, right? And that's where it gets really cool, and where the quantum aspect comes in is, I mean, ancient civilizations have known forever that we need to be outside and we need to have sun. But in our modern world, the research that is showing how important it is centered around a whole new field, which is called quantum biology. And, as quantum physics, been around for maybe the last 100 years or so. And a lot of people who work in energy love quantum physics because it explains so many things that energy medicine or energy healing or spirituality or prayer speak to, but can't explain scientifically, and quantum physics does. But there was always a consensus within the quantum physics community that these quantum mechanical processes didn't happen inside biological living systems. And it's only in the last 10 years that they've started to do research, and the academics won't say they've proven it because they're always very careful with their language. But if you look at their research, it's quite clear that quantum mechanical processes do happen in living systems.
Oh.
So we are quantum energetic beings, which you as an energy worker are completely familiar with. But now it's like the biology and the quantum physics have finally overlapped, and there's finally academic research and published research that shows that that's true.
Well, I don't really believe much of the published research because I feel like that their answers always are going to benefit those who sponsor and pay for that research. However, there are some truthers, like I love Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, or Joe Dispenza. I'm sure know those guys, right? Where it doesn't matter if it's academically funded or whatever. I mean, especially in the last 2 years, it's opened my eyes wide open that the narrative, it just means that he who pays the most dollars wins. And I feel like if there's no money to be made on a given topic, such as teaching people to go out in the sun, then there's not going to be money to fund those types of studies anyway. So the true holistic thing of our ancestors and all of the things that they used to do to make their bodies healthier, nobody's going to fund that type of research. So we just need to have people like you and others that really get all this. Not me, I'm just a student, in people's faces and explain simple things people can do every day to make their life better. So yeah. Have you read The Biology of Belief?
I have, yes. It was a while ago, but I love Bruce Lipton's work. And he was the first person that I heard the word epigenetic, which is that, as you know, we're not just our life is not predestined by our DNA, that our DNA can actually respond. And that is very much supported by the work of quantum biology. And it's interesting because the academic research in quantum biology actually has nothing to do with human health. They studied bird migration and realized that birds are able to track their migrations. They're using quantum processes to do that. And so then it was people, to your point, the people just in the world read that and then applied it to human health. And then we're like, okay, well, if that's true of birds, is it true of people? And if it's true of people, then our bodies are also talking to our environment all the time. So our health is actually driven by our mitochondria, not our DNA. And our mitochondria is much more of an epigenetic system because it's continuously sensing what's going on in our environment. So this idea that all of our health is driven just by our genes is not incorrect, but incomplete, because it's like, what's turning those genes on and off? What's making those things happen? And that's like with Bruce Lipton and The Biology of Belief, and it's the epigenetic expression. And so there's a guy in Philadelphia called Dr. Doug Wallace, and he's dedicated his career to showing that almost all disease is driven by the mitochondrial dysfunction, not by our DNA. And the mitochondria, if you go back like 2 billion years, was actually an organism that lived outside of the human body. It was like its own little microorganism. So it developed sensors of its environment. And now those mitochondria, we have billions and millions and jillions of them inside of our bodies, and they're continuously sensing the environment. So everything from light to sound to what, everything that's going on is contributing in one way or another to our health on every level.
I'm glad you brought up sound. So I was telling my friend I was hiking with it. Normally I like to hike alone because I listen to 432 hertz music. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Yes. So it's because from a quantum perspective, sound and light are, it's just a matter of frequency. So sound absolutely matters. And yes, if you change the frequency of the sound, you are changing the quantum response that your body is having to it. So yeah, I find if you want to talk about that, the hertz stuff and the music at different,
go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. You can tell everybody everything you want to tell them, but I think that spending time alone, just listening to a healing frequency or hertz of music, literally, I mean, I don't want to tell you this whole story, but birds love me now. Like I've been able to touch wild birds. Like at the beach one day, this one bird got hurt and I was sending Reiki energy to her. And I told her, come closer so I can get you, like really get you, because she got hurt and I was sending energy. And she literally came up, a seagull, and started eating chewing on my fingernails.
Wow.
It's so weird.
We're
So
quantum entangled with the bird.
it's like I've had so many weird bird experiences and now I want more. So now I'm like talking to birds all the time. I have bird feeders all over. I'm like, but it all happened organic.
Yeah.
Everything that's happened with me with multiple birds, I'm just like kind of now I'm like, okay, this was good. I want more. But talk about the sound frequency. And then I also want to touch on, before you have to leave, is like Tesla and the quantum energy devices, if you're familiar with those, and perhaps like how a person can raise their vibration so they can raise their frequency just on my emotional type thing, if you're familiar with that at all.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So the music, I haven't researched this. I'm not like a deep, I don't have a deep understanding of that. The reason that light is so important to our health is because the frequencies are programming our cells, right? Like, it's like if you are scanning a barcode and, sometimes if you're doing self-checkout and like the package has 2 barcodes and one of them works with the system and one of them doesn't, and you scan the wrong barcode, it goes, like that's what's happening when we put frequencies, when we try to put ourselves in front of frequencies that are not good for them, right? It's like the barcode doesn't work. Whereas when we go out in sunrise or we go out in natural light, it's like scanning. It's our cells are like the barcode being scanned by the sun in the sky. And so those light frequencies change throughout the day and send different signals to our cells, telling them what to do at different times. So if we're talking about frequency, then the same is true of sound. And there are different frequencies that have different effects on our cells and on the way that our body responds. So certain music, like I was told that Bob Marley's music is at the hertz frequency that makes you feel really happy, but that, and I don't want to say the specific numbers of the frequencies because I don't remember them exactly, but there's sort of like a universal frequency that everyone tunes their music to. Or
440, I think.
Yeah. But that was changed because it used to be 432, and 432, I believe, is a much more healing frequency than 440.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, even if you just, you go on YouTube or whatever, and they have meditation music and they tell you what the hertz is, that's because the frequency of the sound is going to have a different effect on you depending where it's tuned to. And even just like the tone of somebody's voice, right? If you're around somebody all day long who's like, right? Like that having an effect on you on a quantum level. Versus
I actually hate my voice.
Pardon?
I said, I hate my voice, and that I didn't realize that a voice actually would carry a frequency. And wow. Okay.
Oh, and it's not even that I necessarily one person, the quality of the voice, it's the tonality of and the emotion behind it. So if somebody has that sort of like kind of complaining, like, the people, right? There's certain
oh my gosh,
they're just like, this happened, and that happened, and oh great, the fridge, this, right? Like, I mean, we all do that once in a while, no big deal. But it's like, if there's like a certain range of repetitiveness happening in your life in a certain frequency, you're going to become attuned to that in some way.
Yeah, it's like that flat, the no emotion. I've had guests on the show like that I'm like, do I publish this interview? Or I had a client that I just could not stand getting on the phone with her because she just is so like this,
right.
And I'm just like, oh Lord, how can I help her? But yeah, so people don't realize about the frequency of music, but it did all used to be 432. They changed it to 440 because it wasn't healing. And I read on something about conspiracy, and I'm sorry, but many of our conspiracies are real and they're true. And there's money behind it. Conspiracy theory landmines is something I have heard people say. I stand behind most of them that I've heard because, like, okay, let me give you one. My times, and I told him to stop eating sugar.
Mhm.
And his doctor told him it doesn't matter what you eat. And he was be there getting chemotherapy, eating cookies and all the crap that they had at those centers that they were letting these people eat. And my dad's doctor said, your daughter doesn't know what she's talking about. And yet he had cancer 5 times. So, and I believe that doctors are good intentioned, but their education is led by pharmaceutical mafia. And they just don't know what they don't know. And, but when you do your research and you investigate things and you see things and all of a sudden something clicks in your brain and your intuition is like, do you not see that right there? Does that make sense to you? Think logically, Tracy. My eyes just opened and I'm like, whoa, that doesn't make sense to me. So what say you, Miss Meredith?
Well, it's funny because my husband and I do a lot of this research together, and like we tend to like stay out of a conspiracy theory mindset, but every time we research anything, we're like, they really don't make it easy to stay away from the conspiracy theories, because every time you research anything, you realize whether it's fluoride in the water, whether it's the frequency of the music, whether it's the frequency of the light coming out of your phone is that they want you to take to bed with you, whether it's the EMFs coming out of your phone, right? Like nothing is designed to support our health. Nothing. We have to do it ourselves. We have to be like radically personally accountable and curious and willing to do what it takes. If, when I first had my children, I was like, I'd been really into health and stuff in my 20s. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try and like, maybe let that go a little. I'm just going to like eat a healthy diet and not think about it, not worry about anything. And it's like, you can't. It's impossible, right? And so 10 years later, I was like out with chronic fatigue. My daughter had like some crazy digestion issues. Like you cannot just take what comes at you and expect to feel good or even okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was that done on purpose? I don't know. But that's the way it is. And that's what we have to deal with. And that's what, we just, I think, have to make peace with the fact that we have to devote a certain amount of our resources, our energy, our time, our money to figuring things out and researching and doing what we need to do, because just living by default, we're going to get sick. It's not like, I used to also be a little, more balanced. Oh, well, you never know. No, I firmly believe that if you don't do those things, you will be sick.
Oh, yeah.
Die early for sure of something.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you're going to spend all your wealth on regaining your health. And that's, like, I can't believe some of my friends that have been sick what their medical bills are, but they don't want to listen to what I have to say about, quality food or anyway, I guess even Jesus wasn't a prophet in his own town, so I had let it go. but it's true. And I was worse than that, Meredith. I fed my kids fast food all the time. My youngest is 25, but I didn't know. They always ate kid cuisine, anything frozen in a box, wrapper package, whatever. Now we don't buy anything. Like I avoid, if it's Nestle or General Mills or any of those big companies, I will not buy stuff. So Whole Foods, organic, farmers market, we have a big garden and have our own chickens.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we have 6 right now. So, but I didn't know what I didn't know at the time, right?
But also, you've clearly regained your health. Like I can tell that you spend a lot of time outside. because you are like, you are lit, right? Like if you look at, I know people who post before and after pictures from before they knew about going outside and after, and like, even if their weight didn't change all that much, or there wasn't, there's like there's more light in your cells, there's more light in your body when you live that way, and you can totally recover. And I can see that in you. Like as soon as the Zoom opened up, I'm like, oh, Tracy goes outside a lot. I can tell she's lit. You're lit up.
Thank you. So are you familiar with grounding?
Yes.
Okay. So I've had a grounding mat in my bed for a long time, but I had it set up wrong. But now I'm really into everything grounding. I have a grounding mat under my desk. I have one in my bed. I have grounding shoes. Can't figure out how to make this work. And I don't want to wear them without socks. So right. Do you know anything about that?
I believe if you wear pure wool socks, you will ground through it. Maybe even pure cotton. I believe that anything that has any synthetic in it is going to interfere. But a pure wool sock, a pure cotton sock should be fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And I also think the grounding socks and the grounding shoes are also fine. And that is a really good point, because the ideal way to get your sun is to be grounded on the earth while you're getting the sun.
Yeah.
You're pulling in electrons from the earth.
So for the listeners that don't understand what grounding is, do you have a few more minutes? Can you explain that to them?
Sure. It's basically being connected to the earth in a way where you can absorb electrons out of the earth, which, without getting too much into it, makes everything more effective in your body, makes your system work better, and reduces inflammation, because the electrons, anyway, it's kind of complicated, but it reduces inflammation, and it enhances the experience that you're getting with the sun.
Okay, so let me see if I got a summary and you can tell me if I'm right or not. Okay. So it's my understanding that a free radical is a cell that is incomplete, missing an electron. So there's scavenger cells, they're inflammatory cells, and they cluster and create like cancer tumors. Okay. Because they're inflamed free radicals, and people pop all these vitamins, antioxidants to complete that free radical cell. However, you can also ground, which will bring electrons into your body and take that free radical and complete it with that electron. Does that sound about right?
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. And that inflammation, it can cause cancer, but it can also just like make you puffy, make you tired, like all that kind of stuff. Like I noted, and I looked at pictures of myself. After we lived somewhere, during the lockdown in 2020, and I look at pictures and I'm just like so puffy, and I was like, I wasn't outside in my bare feet, right? Like it's the inflammation, and that inflammation will underlies everything.
Oh, so where do you live?
So I currently live in New York State.
Oh, okay. My oldest lives in the East Village in Manhattan.
Oh, wow. Okay. How's that going? Does he feel good living there?
Oh, he loves it. He's in the art community. He's got a great job, and he loves New York.
20s?
Yeah, he's 28.
Yeah. It's funny. You can kind of do anything in your 20s and your body goes along with it.
Yeah, he loves it there. But so why did you leave when COVID, and why did you not have sun? Did I lose you?
So COVID lockdown, we were actually in Illinois. And the summer 2020, we left there. We moved down to Louisiana for a year in order to get more sun and to be outside and restore ourselves to health, which we did. And now we're back up here for work reasons. My husband's back at work. So we need to be near a big city, but we rented a house. We chose a house where we can see the sunrise from the balcony. So we go outside every day and watch the sunrise grounded on the earth. We're near a forest, so we go for walks in the woods every day in our grounding shoes. And then we have therapeutic red lights and different things like that. So we were very, very intentional about what our light environment was like going through this past winter, and it made a huge difference.
That's what people need to learn. So can we just close with back to the light? If a person, like I'm lucky, I live in California, but so many people, my clients and other people, in the winter, they're living in, dark places. And what can people do to stay healthy and happy? And a person's happiness, quotient seems to go down a little.
So it's a really interesting question, because a lot of people in the sort of circadian quantum biology community really felt like they had to move somewhere at a low latitude closer to the equator where you get sun all year in order to be healthy. What I have learned over the past year, and I've interviewed a lot of people on this topic because we just realized like we have to live at a northern latitude and that's just life for now. And it really has to do with how much time you spend outside. So what happens is it's not that the winter gives us seasonal affective disorder, the winter makes us sick, or the winter makes us depressed. It's our lifestyle during the winter. So we need to be outside longer because the way the light frequency is to get the benefits of the sun. You need to spend more time outside during the winter. But what we do is, because it's cold, we spend less time outside and then we get sick. So nature gives us everything we need all winter long. We just have to expose ourselves to it. So that's like the really most important thing. And even having an open window, if the sun is out, you'll still get the warmth and the light through that window, even when it's cold. Long winter walks, anything you can do to be outside as much as possible. And then on top of that, you infrared sauna, cold thermogenesis, and red light therapy really helps as well as being extremely strict about your light environment. So we go to bed much earlier in the winter than we do in the summer, because you want your room to be complete dark, no light coming in at all, and then go outside as soon as the sun comes up, and go outside as much as possible during the day. And it's amazing. I was amazed. So we're early April. This is usually the time of year where I'm just like, kill me now, right? Like it's been months and months and months, and I feel really good.
That's cool.
And we didn't even get to go south this winter. We went skiing instead. So I think that's a really important point, Tracy, for those of us who live in the winter areas. Mother Nature takes care of us. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere that is bad for you. It's just a matter of living closer to those natural rhythms.
That's awesome. I love what you said, because I walk my dogs all year round. I don't wait until, it's just like summer or spring. I walk them all year round. I'm outside every day, no matter what. And I always carve out, not always because I'm busy, but a lot of days I carve out time to go out in the sun in the peak of the day. So like say 3:00, I'll go take a 2-mile walk just so I can be outside again, So
yes.
That's awesome. You are just a doll. I've so enjoyed talking with you, Meredith. And I actually want to share your interview with a couple people that live in these 4 walls. So how can people find you?
So I think the easiest way to find us, we're on Instagram at Quantum Health TV. And we're working on a bunch of different things right now. So I think if you go to our Instagram, we'll direct you where you need to go. We're pulling together a quantum biology conference and doing some fun stuff. So we'll be putting all the information for that there. But I have lots of free Instagram lives on there with different experts talking about some of the topics that we've covered. And we're coming out with a practitioner directory soon. So I'd love to have you in there. It's free and it's for people to find practitioners who understand that we're not just biochemical beings, we're quantum biologic beings.
Yes, indeed. And the funny thing is, I read Joe Dispenza's book, something like The Art of Not Being Yourself. Have you heard that?
Yeah, that's right. It's like getting over who you are or something. I forget the exact title. Yeah.
Yeah. But the most fascinating thing to me was he said that we are 99.9 something percent energy and less than 1% matter.
Wow.
I know, right? Less than 1% matter. That is huge.
Yeah.
So it's almost like hologram-ish. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but the feeling. So anyways, it's just fun to learn and grow and connect with others that are on a similar type journey. So
for sure.
Thank you so much.
And that 99% energy, right? And it comes to health, we almost spend all our focus on the physical, right? Food, things like that, when the energetic environment, which is light, sound, emotion, is all just as important.
Oh, more important, really. One of my friends, my Reiki master teacher, okay, her mom is like 95 and literally eats McDonald's every single day. And she drives through, gets her little McDonald's, comes home, sends energy to it, eats it, and she's super healthy. And I'm just
love it. I love it.
I would never do that, but I think it's pretty fascinating that she gets away with it and is thriving. So if you were to close,
absolutely.
Meredith, if you're close with just like one nugget of wisdom that you really want to make sure that the listeners take home with them, what would that look like? What would that be?
Make friends with the sun. See it as a friend, as a source of wisdom and knowledge and healing and potion. And, it does all of the things. It's, we've been so conditioned to protect ourselves from it, when really it is a source of divinity.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Love it. And I have to say, I concur. The sun is just my favorite thing. And take off your sunglasses.
Yeah, take them off. On my way to pick up my daughter from school, there's a woman in my neighborhood and she's out for a walk every day. And I'm so impressed with her consistency. She's out there every day. And every day I have to stop myself from pulling the car over and being like, hey, take off your sunglasses.
I know.
Always has them on.
It's funny. There's this chick in my town who from the outside, she looks all like Barbie doll, perfect, but she'll be at the grocery store with sunglasses on in the store. Like I see her at the park here, always with her sunglasses on, but then she's like wearing them in the store. And I'm just like, okay, Hollywood, that's just the way. It's like, but whatever.
Like a shield of some sort.
Yes. Yes. And she's beautiful. I don't know why she needs to hide behind them, but oh, well, they'll learn eventually. Well, I just want to thank you so much and honor you for coming on the show today. You're an absolute doll. I can't wait to go check out your show.
Awesome. That's great. And I'll stay in touch. Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. And thanks for doing what you do, spreading healing in the world.
And you as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, that was super fun. I learned a lot doing simple little things that we can do around our house, and I hope you enjoyed the show. For complete show notes, head on over to highenergygirl.com/show, and don't forget to follow Meredith under Quantum Health on Instagram. So go out, you guys, get some sunshine, and make it a fabulous day. Bye for now. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.